everyone for joining this second tuning into winter with yoga. Today is going to be all about revitalizing and trying to, I suppose, when we need some energy, when we're perhaps not quite feeling it in winter, how do we re-energize ourselves? So that's what we're going to be looking at today. Perhaps when we're having that winter slump, how can we pick ourselves up when we need to? Because we might be saying that tuning into winter is about slowing down, but it's not about us completely stopping. We do need to get out into nature, even on some of those duller days, a short walk after lunch, or perhaps in the morning, a cup of tea stood on the doorstep, but trying to get into natural daylight as much as you can. So we're going to have a go at a little meditation to start, to help us sort of ground into the session, into this space. So we all need some sort of object to look at. So I've picked up a leaf this morning, a little bit crinkly, but just anything that you might have, or a natural object that you might have in the house, an ornament or something that's special to you if you haven't managed to get out to get something. So just bring your object into your hand, and just making sure that you're sitting comfortably. So whether that's on a chair or on the floor, either is fine. And first of all, let's just connect with the breath. So taking a big breath in and a slow breath out. And I just want you to close your eyes for a couple of moments. And we're just having a little check-in. So checking in with, how does the body feel right now? How are we feeling today? Knowing that all our emotions are welcome. They're often signals trying to tell us something. And then I want you to, with your eyes closed, bring your attention to your object resting in your hand. Using that sense of touch. What can you feel? Is your object heavy? Is it light? Can you sense it at all if it's a leaf? I can only sense it because I'm moving my fingers underneath it. And then bring your gaze down towards your object and flicker your eyes open. So I want you to bring all of your attention now into your object. So you're taking everything in. You're noticing all the different colours. You're noticing all the different, perhaps, markings on your object. So mine's a bit of a greeny yellow leaf. And if I really pay attention, I can notice lots and lots of different shades of green and yellow, even a hint of orange and brown. How many different shades is your object? And then just turn it over in your hands. Maybe feel into its surface. What does it feel like between your fingers? Does one side of your object feel different to the other? What do the edges feel like? Are they smooth? Is it a rough surface? I'm noticing that my leaf is covered in whitefly. But I'm just being okay with it. I notice how the colours look different on one side of the leaf to the other. Maybe you bring your object up to your nose and smell. Does your object have a distinct smell? If you've managed to pick something out of nature, has it got that earthy smell to it? And try to hone into one particular point of your object, something that's really drawn your attention, perhaps a bright colour or a pattern, that when you're just taking a passing glance, you just don't notice it. So you're just spending a few moments really taking in all the different patterns, the colours, the textures of your object. And then bring that awareness out a little bit. So become aware of your hand, where you're holding your object. Become aware of your arm, where you're holding your arm so that you can see your object. Become aware of where your arm is attached to your shoulder. And then start to bring in an awareness of the rest of the body. The torso, the back, the hips, the legs. And then take that awareness out beyond yourself, taking a look around the room where you are. Taking in all your surroundings. Trying not to judge it. If you notice things that perhaps you hadn't noticed before, like a thick layer of dust, or I should have cleared that away, just let all of that go. Just take in your surroundings. Maybe you're near a window and you can see the sun shining through. And then bringing your gaze back in again. So down into the body, down into your arm, back into your object. Taking one final look at every single detail of what you're holding, and then gently close the eyes again. And you see an imprint of that object in your mind's eye as you close the eyes. Or is it gone? And just take a few minutes here, checking in again. How am I feeling emotionally? What am I feeling in my body? What is my breath doing? And then you can just open your eyes if you're ready to do that. You can keep them closed and just follow my voice, but just popping your object down somewhere. So this is a great way for us to really ground ourselves in the natural environment and bring ourselves into the present moment. So you could imagine that you could do this if you went out for a walk, perhaps in a woodland, really focusing on a tree, the bark of a tree, really noticing where you're walking, the crispness of the ground underfoot. I do love it at this time of year when it's really frosty and you get that real crisp on the ground, perhaps the sparkle of the frost. So all it's doing is bringing us into what's here and now, rather than us being somewhere else in our minds. Rather, we're in the past or we're in the future. We're actually living, we're enjoying the present moment, and tuning into the joys of the winter time. So we're going to start getting a little bit of movement now. So if you've been in the same position for a while, you can start to feel a little bit stiff. So have a little bit of a move about. If you're on the floor and your legs are crossed, then maybe you need to take your legs out and have a little bit of a shake. Maybe shift from one bum cheek to the other. A little bit of a twist. Little move of the shoulders. You're going in one direction and then the other. Maybe bringing them up to the ears and dropping them down. So bringing them up and dropping them down. Maybe just taking a little forward stretch as well. So we've got the legs out in front of us, then we're stretching forwards to the opposite leg. So I'm just going to demonstrate on the chair. So if you're on the floor, just carry on doing that. So on the chair, it would look very similar. You could come forwards towards the leg. I would keep the feet on the floor for now. We're just trying to get a bit of movement in the back. This is really good to do in the morning. We've got some stiffness from overnight. So we're moving from one side to the other. And then let's find some stillness again. Remembering that we said about those little bits of stillness in between the movement are just as important as the movement themselves. We're all about building that connection between the body and the mind. And then we'll take a little bit of a twist. So if you're seated on the floor, you can have your legs in any position. If you're on the chair, we're twisting from the waist. The arms out in front of us. I'd keep the head facing forward so we don't feel dizzy. And just twisting from one side to the other. And then let's bring it back to center. Checking in again. Take that little pause. And then we'll take a longer twist. So we're going to twist the body over, maybe take the head with us. So this is what it would look like on the chair. And then on the floor, we've got different options. We could have the legs out long and we could just be twisting here. Or we could bend one of those, the leg. So I'm twisting to my left. I get very confused with left and right. And then, so I'd lift my left leg and twist to the left. And then I'll come back to center. And I'll let everything come back into balance. So we've sort of been wringing out the spine and the internal organs there, squashing everything on one side of the body. So as we move back, we get that fresh blood supply. So we just let it settle through the body. And when you get good at noticing the subtle things that are going on in the body, you can start to feel it. So we're going to the other side. So if we're on the chair, we're keeping the feet planted. If we're on the floor, we might want to bend that right leg and then twist over to the side, trying to keep tall in the spine. So be wary of you slumping backwards. Try and keep tall. You can use that hand for a bit of balance. And just trying to breathe here. And then coming back to center. Taking the leg out long again if you're on the floor. The feet planted on the floor if you're on the chair. Just taking a moment there. And then we're going to take a little bit of a side stretch. So we're going to stretch up and over and really stretch into the side of the body. So seated on the chair. We could use the chair for a little bit of support and be stretching over. Let's go to each side twice. So really stretching up and over, whether you're on the floor or on the chair. Trying, if you can, whichever way you're stretching, the opposite side, you're trying to push the opposite side down into the chair. You're not lifting up and over. It's like an opposite, you're sort of trying to do the opposite. You're pushing up here and then you're pressing down with your bottom so you can real stretch through the whole of the side. And then coming back to center. Just take a moment there. So if you're on the floor, we're going to come into all fours. And if we're on the chair, we're going to stay where we are. We're going to do a cat movement. So sometimes in yoga it's called cat-cow. I call it happy cat, angry cat. So because I'm on the chair, I shall demonstrate on the chair first. If you're familiar with yoga and you're on all fours and you know what cat looks like, then you could start working through cat. I shall demonstrate in a moment. So with cat, I'm going to turn sideways on the chair so you can see a little bit better. We're trying to get the spine moving, so we're curving the spine and then we're extending through the spine. But what we're really looking at is trying to push the shoulders back and get this opening in the chest. So a good way to do that on the chair is to have your hands in what's called cactus. So you bring them into cactus and you're trying to squeeze the shoulder blades together and you're really looking up, not right up towards the ceiling because then you're really cranking the back of the neck, but just lifting the head and really squeezing the shoulder blades together. And then as you come into forwards, which is angry cat, it's like someone's punching you in your belly button and you can really round the spine. You could bring the hands forward to the knees, really drop the chin towards the chest, or you could even bring your arms forwards. So normally on the chair I call it cactus cat and then diving cat if we've got the hands forwards. Remember, any issues with the shoulders, we can still keep the arms down. So we could be stretching here and we could just be leaving the arms on the legs as we round the spine. So just trying to work through that, but at a slow pace. So really feeling into every tiny movement with that cat, forwards and back. So on the floor, hopefully people have maybe started. You could use a cushion for your knees if you need to, but you're thinking about that all fours position, having the knees stacked under the hips, spreading the fingers really wide, maybe turning the wrists out a little bit if it feels more supportive for the wrists. And then we're trying to get this spine movement going, starting right down here, right down at the base of the spine as we move into happy cat. So we're dropping the belly, the tail comes out, and the slight lift of the head again. So imagine you're trying to make a beautiful curve with the whole of the spine. So if you do this, that's a curve with a bit of a kink on the end of it. So really think about making a beautiful curve with the spine. And then as you come into your angry cat, then you're moving from the tail again. You're really tucking that tailbone under, that pelvis. Again, it's like someone's punching you in the tummy. Your belly button's moving towards your spine. And you're stretching up into angry cat. So you're trying to move through this as slow as you can. So can you send your attention into that lower back and imagine that you're trying to move each vertebrae one at a time. Bum comes out, belly towards the floor, head slightly lifted. And then as you come back into the angry cat, you tuck the tail under first and really push through the back, like someone's punching you in the belly button, or you're trying to get your belly button to touch your spine, and you're pushing through the arms in that angry cat. And then coming back to a neutral position. So if you're on all fours, neutral tabletop, you're not loose, so you're still pulling in the core a little bit, trying to flatten the back. So you should be able to balance a cup of tea on your back. If you're on the chair, then you're just sat tall through the spine. You're pressing the feet into the floor and engaging the core a little bit. So this is, flat back position. And then just take a wiggle from side to side. So you're on all fours, you're just wiggling from side to side. And then you could take any movement that feels nice. So maybe you start to move your cat in a bit of a circle. So you're really moving all the different bits of your body. You might be coming forwards, taking a little bit of weight in the hands, or coming back. So just moving through that. If you're at the chair, we're sort of shifting the weight from one side to the other. And then taking circles more with the top half of the body. We could even circle the wrists at the same time. So we're just moving into all of the body. So this is a really good movement to do, again, before you get up in the morning. Well, you've got out of bed, but then trying to do that cat movement before you do anything else. Really opening up the spine. Anyone that wakes up with backache is a really good one to do. So if we feel okay, we're going to come to standing. So from all fours, you could do that any way you like. Or I was watching a video with this new method of coming to standing, where you take one leg out in front and you're swaying, and you use that sway to eventually bring yourself up. Or you could come up in any way that feels comfortable for you. There's still an option to stay seated at the chair. You don't have to come to standing. You can do everything that we're doing at the chair as well. So I'll be musical chairs again, up and down. So just doing whatever feels right for you. So in that first session, we did have a look at that mountain posture, didn't we? About thinking about where the feet are, pressing the feet into the floor, standing tall, shoulders back and down, and lifting from the crown of the head. Always being mindful of the knees. So we're not locking the knees back. We've got a tiny little micro bend in them. When we lock the knees back, we're not doing the knees any good, and we're not doing the back any good, because we tend to then go like this, which is really not great posture. So thinking about that when we're standing up. But for now, we just have a little bit of a shake out. So full body shake. So shaking every part of your body. Nobody's watching you, so you can just go for it. really shaking everything. Maybe just, moving the knees really fast and then seeing what effect that has on the body. Maybe going the shoulders side to side. So we can do very similar movements. Sat at the chair as well. But just really shaking out, maybe a bit of a twist in there as well. So shaking is a really good way of getting rid of stress, really getting rid of tension in the body, helping with those aches and pains. It's getting sort of stagnant energy in the body just moving. And then stop. So this is where we find that mountain position again. So feet pressing in the floor, standing up tall through the spine. A little bit of core engagement, trying to drop the shoulders down. And just taking a little pause here, noticing how you feel. A mountain position. So we're tuning into winter, but that does not mean that we take rest all the time. So I've been doing a little bit of research, and research is sort of saying that we're best taking short bursts of activity. And I guess going back to our roots, if you imagine if we were living back in caves or in houses, where we hadn't got heat and we were having to go out to get firewood or to go out to kill an animal, we would take short bursts of activity and then come back to rest in the warmth of our surroundings. So that's what we sort of need to do in modern life as well. So we're going to take some strength poses that might be a little bit more challenging, and then take little rests in between, and then we can have a longer rest at the end as well. So we're going to do what's called chair pose. The chair pose, like it says, it's like you're sitting down into a chair, so the bottom is going backwards, a little bit like a squat, if you're familiar with squatting. But you're trying to keep the feet planted in the floor, being careful that the knees are not going over the feet. So we're trying to keep the knees back, and you're sitting, if you're sitting in a chair, you're pulling in all of this core, pulling in at the pelvic floor, probably through the glutes as well. And we might bring our hands up in front. I tend to take them wide so my shoulders don't go up here. So they might be out here like this. And you can imagine if you're on the chair, if you want to stay seated, that you're just shifting the weight forwards. But what I want you to do is really press your feet into the floor. So really push down, as if you could push the floor away, which will then activate all the muscles coming up the legs and into the bottom. And I want you to really pull in at the centre of the body as you take that weight forward. So this would be your chair pose, sat on the chair. Standing up, we can go as little or as far as we want, whatever feels comfortable for us. But if you, like me, and you have that curve in your lower back, I want you to be really mindful that you're not really making that curve worse, really extending in the back, that we're taking a little tuck so that we can protect that lower back so it doesn't have to be big. So that's what our chair pose looks like. And we're going to bring that into a little bit of a flow. So it's going to start with a forward fold. So let's all bring our hands to heart center, and we shall just go with the forward fold first. And I've forgotten that we're doing a salute to the sun as well first. So hands at heart center. We're going to open the hands and lift up, like you imagine you're looking up at the sun and feeling it's heat on your face. So it's a little bit of a back bend. So you can see I'm bending backwards, but I'm still keeping strong here. I'm not dropping out here on the lower back. I'm still pulling in. Movement is coming from the upper back. We can have the arms further down as well. And then we're going to fold forwards. So we fold forwards. And then we're going to come all the way back up again. And then bring the hands through heart center. So that's the first step in our movement. So we breathe in as we lift our arms up and take that sun salute. And then we breathe out as we fold forwards. And then we'll come all the way back up again. So forward fold's very good for re-energizing. And then we're going to add on that chair pose. So the next time that we come down into that forward fold, we'll come up into that chair pose and just hold it for a moment and then come back up. So let's try that again. So trying to, if we can connect with the breath. I've got used to saying breathe in, breathe out to help people connect to the breath. But if it feels new for you or a little bit uncomfortable, then just go with the movement. But we're always trying to really breathe in when we're opening the chest and breathe out as we're closing the body. So bring the hands to heart center. Can we take a big breath in as we open up the hands? And then breath out as we fold forwards. Can we plant the feet and breathe in as we raise up into that chair pose? And then take a breath here, so we're not holding the breath. Take a breath or two. And then lifting, stretching up and coming back down. So let's try that again. I'll do it on the chair this time so people can see what it looks like. So standing or seated, hands at heart center. Let's breathe in as we open up, taking in the energy of the sun. Breathe out as we fold forwards. Plant the feet, press the feet into the floor as we come up into that chair pose. And then lifting up overhead and coming back down. So we're going to try that again, but we're going to add on to the chair pose. So sat on the chair, we're pressing the feet in, we're engaging the legs, the core, the bottom. We take that weight forward and we're going to, what I call opening the book. So you're opening the page to one side, coming back to center, and then opening the book to the other side. So we're holding that chair pose a little bit longer. We're stretching up and then coming back down. So I'll do it standing as well. So let's do it all together. So hands at heart center. Breath in as we open up to the sun. Breath out as we fold forwards. Breathing in as we lift up into chair pose and then take a breath out. Breathing in as we open up to one side and breathing out back to center and then the other way and back to center, lifting up and then back down. Maybe take a little bit of a shake out. We're feeling a little bit of burn maybe in the muscles, a little bit of an ache. Remember that aching is okay. If this is new, this is something different, it will ache. We're building muscle strength. But if it comes a sharp pain, then we need to stop. So let's try that one more time, either from the chair or standing. Hands at heart center. Plant the feet. Connect with the breath. And let's breathe in and open up salute the sun. Breathe out, folding forwards. Plant the feet, press the feet into the floor. Be strong through the core as you come up into chair pose. Next breath in, opening up with that little twist. Coming back on an out breath. Breathing in and out. Come back to center. Breathing in, lifting up, really stretch up. And then breathing out, bring the hands back to heart center. And can you send all your attention into your fingers? Into your fingers pressing together. Maybe you can even feel a little bit of a pulse between the fingertips. So little bursts of energy. We don't have to take an hour out of our day to come to the mat. We can build in little 5 minutes, little movement snacks, short bursts to re-energize, revitalise. And then just take a little bit of a shake out. And then we're going to take a little forward fold. So I'm going to show different options. So if we're sat on the chair, we can take the full forward fold here. Or we can be resting our head into our hands. Standing, I'm going to suggest that you take your chair and you potentially might need cushions to raise up the chair a little bit, but we take a forward fold with the head, trying to get the real crown of the head resting on the chair. Keep the knees soft. So yeah, if you think, oh, I need a cushion, you could bring your cushion in, but trying to really let the head be heavy. So you're putting a lot of weight onto the crown of the head, pressing in here. I'm just going to come up a minute, so stay in whatever feels comfortable. If you don't like it on your head, then you could just fold forward without the chair. So just one thing, that if you do have any issues with your neck, then I probably wouldn't press your head into the chair. So whichever feels right for you. We're going to try and hold it for a couple of minutes. So trying to feel which position feels right for you today. Can you be okay with being in this position? Can you let go of any tension in the top half of the body, in the arms? You could bring the arms to rest on the chair as well. Can you just be strong through the legs and just rest here? And then slowly, you're going to raise back up. Letting the head be the last thing that you raise up. And take a few moments just in stillness. So know that it's perfectly normal for you to feel a little bit lightheaded, a little bit dizzy, and you do this. But just see how you go, whether it's something that you feel is helpful or not. I find it quite helpful. That forward folding, the rush, blood to the head. I find it relaxing. I find it opens up my back, and I just really like it. So we're going to finish in what I think is a relaxing position. See whether you think that. So again, we're going to have different options. So if you're at the chair, I think you probably would be better at a settee if you're at the chair, but you want something long, either an oblong cushion or a pillow, so that you can sort of put your nestle, or even a rolled up blanket, so you can nestle your shoulder blades in and really open the chest. And then you might need to get like an extra cushion to support the neck. So it's slightly comfortable on a dining chair, but I'm not sure. It might be better on a settee. Or if you're doing this video in your own time, you could take a pause and perhaps bring it to your bed. But yeah, if you want to stay on the chair, then we're looking to open the shoulders. So you want something oblong down the shoulder blades that you can sort of push against a little bit. And then you can bring the elbows back and then just rest in the hands sort of in the crease of the hips. If you're at the floor, so you do have to have a bit of a play around with this because all our bodies are different, but you're trying to create a little bit of a ski slope. So I would probably go with a couple of cushions and then a pillow, and I want to get my bottom right up to the edge of that pillow so that I can rest back. And then I think if your head feels like it's dangling back, I might get another cushion on top to rest my neck, and I would rest here. So on the floor, you've got the option to rest with the legs out, or you could bring your legs into butterfly. So you put the soles of the feet together and drop the knees out. You might then need more cushions or more pillows to support the legs. So it does take a little bit of getting right. You need to work out what support works for you, because you don't want to feel like you're arching too much in the lower back and it feels uncomfortable in the lower back. So have a go at trying to find your position, whether you're sat on the chair, maybe on your bed, but you're trying to create a bit of a ski slope so that your shoulders are opening. So this is about opening the back, the chest actually, and letting the shoulders fall backwards. Because we spend a lot of time like this, and especially in winter, oh, I'm cold, and we're forwards, the shoulders are up, we're closing our body. So to re-energize and to help open our chest, we need to open up here. So hopefully everybody's found their comfortable position. I'm going to stay here. So you've got to be super comfortable. So if it's not feeling right for you, do some adjustments. Get another pillow, get another cushion. Maybe you need a blanket to put over you. You might start with your legs in that butterfly position and then think, well, that feels a little bit too strong. So you could close the legs and put them out long. But just finding comfort, because we can't rest if we don't feel comfortable. So finding that comfortable position. So we're finding our final rest. We've done our energizing and our short bursts of exercise, and we're coming to a place where we feel like we can rest. So we do that little check-in again. Checking in with the body. Are we as comfortable as we possibly can be? Are there any areas of the body that we're holding tension? Can we let it go? Can we just relax? Let's have a little check-in with where our thoughts are today. Are we still here in this session? Can we just let go of our train of thoughts for now? Can you become the observer of your thoughts? Just noticing them rather than getting involved. And checking in with how you feel emotionally. Knowing that whatever you feel is perfectly okay. We're going to try a little bit of a visualisation with our relaxation today. I want you to bring into mind that bright sunshine. So it's shining today. That warmth of that winter warmth of the sun. Can you bring that sunshine into your mind's eye? I want you to see if you can send it all the way down into the base of your spine. So you've got a bright ball of warmth. It'd be like a flame of a candle or the shine of a torch. Or maybe it is like a sunshine right down in the base of your spine. Can you imagine this bright light, this warmth settling in the base of the spine? And I just want you to notice what the breath is doing. Are you taking slow, steady breath? Or do you need to make a conscious effort to just slow the breath down? So bringing your attention back to that lower spine, that image of that bright light. Can you feel the warmth of it at the base of your spine? And as you take your next breath in, could you send that shining light all the way up the spine? All the way into the base of the skull. And then as you breathe out, could you send it back down the spine? As you take a breath in, you've got that bright white light, like the warmth of the sun, and you're breathing in and you're sending that warmth, that energy, all the way up the spine into the skull. And on your breath out, you're sending it all the way back down. So you're just breathing in and out, focusing your attention on the spine. Breathing in that warmth, that energy coming up the spine on the in-breath. And back down on the out-breath. And could you expand this? So as you breathe in and bring that warmth, that light all the way up the spine, could you extend it into the head, into the face? And then as you breathe back down the spine, could you send that bright light down the arms into the fingertips? Could you send that warmth, that energy all the way down the legs and out of the toes? So you're breathing in that warmth, that light all the way to the top of the head. And you're breathing out, sending it all the way down through the body, through the arms, through the spine, the hips, the upper legs, the knees, the lower legs, right to the toes. Maybe even imagining that out of your toes and your fingers, that beams of light could shine out beyond your body. Just try and visualize that if you can. Know that if this is a new concept for you, that it can be tricky to visualize things. So you could just let go of it and maybe just count instead. Or just doing what feels right for you. Or maybe you just work on just resting here. Resting in this space. So everything I say is a suggestion. We're all different. If visualizing this bright light works for you, makes you feel relaxed and focused, then do it. If it doesn't, let go. Let's just take a few more like this. So breathing in, sending that light up into the head, the face, breathing out, letting its warmth, its energy spread through the whole of the body, out of the fingertips, the hips, the legs, the toes. Just feeling a total sense of relaxation, of rest. And just staying where you are for a few more moments. As we come to the end of our session, maybe just think about one thing that we've done today that you found useful. Think about how you could bring that into the rest of your week. And then just start to get some movement, some wriggling in the hands and the toes. Maybe if you're sat on the chair, tapping the feet on the floor. If you laid down, you could tap through the heels. Maybe stretch out the legs if you've had them in that butterfly. Bring the legs back together and stretch out the legs. Maybe even stretch the arms overhead. Opening the body. If you're laid down, it might feel nice to bring the legs in towards the body. So remember, this is about listening into you. I don't know what's going on in your body, but take the movement that feels right for you. If you're on the floor, you have to gently roll off your supports. Maybe you need to bring a little pillow in for the head so you can rest on one side of the body. If you're on the chair, just coming up into a seated position. And then on the floor, gently bringing yourself up into a comfortable seat. And I'm going to finish with these words by Albert Camus. He's a French philosopher. In the final depths of winter, I finally learned that there was in me an invincible summer. So we've all got the energy, everything that we need already inside us. We just have to remember and try and find it. So let's finish with a little energy rub. So rubbing into the hands. And then taking that energy into the eyes. Let's take a big deep breath in. And a slow breath out. So bringing your hands to heart center. Let's go forwards into the rest of the week, trying to find our internal summer or our internal fire. So namaste. Thank you for joining me.